Good evening. This is the Archangel 2210, and I'm going to have a random discussion about time travel. Now, what brought this upon? Well, I was actually looking at a few parodies of the Harry Potter ending and how people weren't completely satisfied with. People keep saying, I guess, or at least a couple parodies where people said or showed that they would have liked where the time turner that Hermione had in book 3. What if they just would have used that, travel back in time, and kill young Voldemort as a kid? And like, okay, done. That's it. Everyone's safe. And um, as well as good as that sounds, you can't just go off. Traveling back in time, like a day or 2 days, is one thing. But going back in time decades, you know, and just flat out killing someone, like, that can cause a whole cataclysm of events that people may not see. They just see that one zone and moment. Okay, that person is gone, and now you don't have to worry about all these other characters. Think of it this way: if that is how it was done, where someone did go back in time and kill Tom Riddle, aka Voldemort, um, it would have looked as a random act of violence, and it would have looked as though some sort of assassination of some kind, a potential young wizard, and it probably would have brought about a form of witch trials or a witch hunt in the Harry Potter universe. I'm not saying it would have happened exactly, but and that would have probably happened, and even more characters probably would have died, in search of who killed Voldemort, and that whole ongoing saga. And Harry Potter's parents probably would have still died, and a lot of other characters probably would have still died. And who knows that um, Hogwarts would probably even be demolished before Harry Potter even gets to be a student there. So we don't know what would have happened in those timely events that would have changed. Because it's not the same sequence of events. You know, Now, speaking in general, that like, cause I just love the concept of time travel. I really do. I love the concept of time travel, just going back in time, and everything. And um, another show, which I'm really jumped on board with recently, Sanctuary. This is one character, Helen Magnus. She basically is she's over 113 years old, I believe, but she stays like at the age of 46, and um, like she existed. She wasn't always immortal. She became immortal through a scientific experiment, and then she became immortal because of this, and she got to live this long life. And then at one point, she actually went back in time because she was tracking down a guy that wanted to bring his daughter back to life because she died of a disease back in the day, and because the guy was also immortal too, so he wanted to go back in time 100 years, and he wanted to bring her back with the cure that he had from the future to cure her in the past. And she was saying you cannot do that because you don't know what else is going to happen. The sequence of events is going to change dramatically. And then a guy that had a fixation with Helen Magnus for hundreds of years, over like 100 years basically. He was always chasing her. And she's like, "Oh, get away from me." He's also immortal, obviously. He struck a deal with him that he didn't want Helen Magnus to become immortal, and he wanted her to stay human because that's what he felt. That's the best part of the relationship before she became immortal. And then she's like, "You don't realize what you would do if you do that. Not only would you have me die to, would she die? She would erase the entire present. Like that whole 100 years would be completely different, and the whole sanctuary would be gone, and everything will be changed, and like she would be a completely different person. She would not exist in that modern era." And and I love the lines like, you think that the present me is so useless that you would go and change things that dramatically, and because he was so desperate to be with her. So back to the crazy father from that wanted to find the cure. She knew that his daughter had to die. You know, she because if he's because even though he would have brought her back, and like, oh, you're saving somebody, what's the big deal? You don't know what other sequence of events that can set off when you're changing a dramatic event in history. That big. It's like you don't know what else is gonna happen. So then basically she was back in time, and then at the end of the whole thing, she killed the daughter. Ended up dying, and she ended up killing the future timeline version of him, because there was no portal back. There was no time machine back. She was stuck in the past. So then she's like, I can't. And then she was being melodramatic. I'm gonna have to kill myself because I can't go back in time. I'm stuck here. And her friend told her, you're immortal. You could just go someplace secluded for 113 years, and then when you just at the moment of time when you disappear, go back in the time portal, come back and reunite with your original timeline. So basically, she had a 113-year vacation, which sounds sweet. So she went secluded on a mountaintop by herself. Now, I know I'm kind of rambling, but I'm basically saying that when they have characters and people that want to go back in time a significant amount of time, I'm talking years and years and years and years and years, whether it's 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or even 100 years, that they go back in time and they want to change a significant event in history, or even just a significant event just to them that does not affect history, you just don't know the sequence of events that it could collapse. It's like, the line of dominoes. You just flick one, but all row of dominoes is gonna fall, because the actions of one affects them all. It affects every single one lining up after that. So basically, this is just my random discussion. Leave a comment on what you think time travel can do. Like this, if you think, like, my Harry Potter rant, and not really a rant, but just my Harry Potter rambling about the time traveling. I actually do think that probably would have happened. If they would have just killed him, like, oh, that's the ending. If he went back to his timeline, you don't know what would have happened. And the thing about the time turner is that it just, you can't go back decades and decades. Like, you can't go back in time to a time before you were born, because after a moment, it doesn't snap you back like a rubber band to your original timeline. You swirl back, and then you have to align yourself back to the original timeline. So it doesn't, you can't go back decades and decades with that little time travel device. But interesting thought, interesting theory. It's just this is my thought that I had about what I thought would happen if that character was killed off at that age, by either Harry or a different character in the Harry Potter universe. That's probably what, in my opinion, what would have happened. Some people could have a different opinion what they think would happen. You could write your opinion what you think will happen if that actually happened. Write your comments below what you think of my random ramblings of time travel.